Yeah, we're live.
Any comments? Welcome. Welcome, people. Hello. Can we move it so we can see the comments?
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, Dead Destroyers. How are you?
Can't see all those on.
Yay! Good job, Tanisha.
We just got through watching a bunch of your videos.
That's right. We finished them right at 2:58, I think.
Woohoo!
We're going to give a couple of minutes for people to come in. He said he couldn't take his glasses off because he can't see. I said in a video that I had to get some old lady glasses. We're basically to the point where I can't read anything close up and he can't read anything far away, so we have to help each other figure things out.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. When you going to Miami, Tanisha? Oh, hey, Jan. Happy. Thank you. We appreciate it. Our anniversary is actually next
Friday.
Next Friday. That's right. It falls on Friday.
Yep.
So do you want to start telling them a little bit about how we met?
I guess. Sure.
I love making him tell this.
I don't know. I went to see a friend of mine. She was in college at the time. I was in college too, but I'm a couple years
right,
older
Tanisha.
than her.
I'm sorry. That's right, Tanisha. I knew that.
Yeah, because you were watching it.
Yeah, I knew you were there. I'm sorry. I slept since that conversation. So
Yeah.
Anyway, in your colleges, did y'all have like a BCM or a Baptist Student Union? So basically, we met there, but he's going to tell you how we actually met there.
Yeah, she was. We're both in college at the time. I'm a little bit older than her, but yeah, 5 years. But I'd gone down to see a friend of mine, and I didn't know. I knew she was in the building. Pretty much sure she was in the building, but I didn't know.
My friend.
Yeah, my friend, not her.
Yep,
my
she didn't know me.
I knew she was in the building, but I wasn't sure she was in there at that time. And so they had bushes up around the windows, and so I parked and just went and started, looking around through the bushes to see if I could see anybody in the building, anybody that I recognized. So yeah.
The first time I saw him was he was peering through the bushes, and I said, "Who's that fool in the bushes?"
Yep.
That was how we met. So.
Yep.
So we both agree, Asia, that we met on that same day. So her and her husband don't agree about when they met.
Oh. Heard. Okay.
So, all right. So, what about we'll tell you a little bit about our wedding. We actually only dated for
About 6 months.
when we got engaged.
Yeah.
We dated about 11 months between the first day we met to the day of our wedding.
Yep.
And broke up a couple of times during the dating part. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the bushes, Joel. That's right.
That's right.
So yeah, it was about 11 months, and so we were both broke, and we had a pretty cheap wedding.
Yeah.
Or inexpensive.
Yeah. If you want to say it was inexpensive, it was inexpensive. We had people donate our cake. People donated their time to do pictures and
we didn't have
flowers. Yeah, people donated flowers.
Pictures were just like the old disposable cameras and the way they were 28 years ago, before digital, and so they were not good photos.
Yeah, way before digital.
So if there was one thing I would say don't save on in a wedding, it's probably pictures, because now we just have grainy old copies of pictures, you know.
Yep.
So, but the cake was donated. A lot of it was, we had for the wedding reception, his mother cooked the whole meal. No catering. At the wedding reception, there was just like like the mixed nuts and
that was before people started putting out a full spread for receptions.
Yeah, so
the main meal was done the night before at the rehearsal dinner, which was just for the wedding party. So nowadays, especially when I was doing weddings,
just if you don't know what he means by doing weddings, is he used to be a minister, so he's officiated a lot of weddings. That's what he means. And
so now the bride and groom, they put on a full spread during the reception. So the reception is sometimes as big as the wedding itself. So, so there you go. So how things change over the years.
Yes. We also had some weird things happen during the wedding. One is that two of our nieces was like my train bearers. And they thought it'd be really funny to do the wave with my train while walking down the aisle. And after I got stopped, they were like flapping the train. And so you can hear their mother on our wedding video going, "Stop, stop, stop." They also cut their hair like 3 days before the wedding. So they both look like boys with, shaved off hair, because they cut it that deep. And oh my, they were like 3 and 5 or something. Yeah. Also, the person who donated the cake, but they didn't donate their time to set it up. And so some people who had no idea how to set up a cake tried to set it up. And we almost had catastrophe when we went to cut into it. It started to move. And everybody did a mad dash to stop the cake.
Yep. That almost happened.
Yeah, it almost happened. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, he kept lying to me about something that he had planned for the wedding, which was to sing to me. He kept saying, "No, I could never do that." And he did it anyway, and so my sister was so overcome with emotion. Not me,
she pulled
my sister.
If you've seen the end of the movie, Officer and a Gentleman, where where to go, it sounded like that.
That's what my sister did at the wedding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Hey, Rochelle.
Man, it's early in Hawaii. Good morning.
Good morning, Rochelle. We purposely plan 3 or after, because we want to give Rochelle a chance to be awake.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It was a unique thing, and honestly, because we were so broke and we were moving from Mississippi to New Orleans. We didn't do our traditional wedding honeymoon. We went straight to our new apartment, saved the money on the honeymoon. So waited until years later.
Yeah.
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 So that was just. All right, so let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, they all knew we were poor, so
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
They did what they could, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, they knew we were starting off poor, and we were moving from Mississippi to New Orleans so that he could go to seminary, and his church was basically covering his tuition for that. So everybody knew we were poor. They were like, "Let me help." So,
yeah.
So we appreciate all that. We got started off really. Our first apartment was ridiculous. There was writing on the wall and carpet that was falling apart and appliances that didn't work right. And it was craziness, but I've always heard people say those are your fondest memories of when you were your poorest, so to speak.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Yep. So, all right.
All right.
So, do y'all have any questions for us before we start doing these money tag questions? Shoot away. Huh? Oh, yeah, that's right. We haven't said. See, that's why I told him this part so that I wouldn't forget. We saw this talk tag done by the Debt Destroyers.
Let's see if I do this right. The Debt Destroyers. How was that? That good? Is that a good imitation?
Anyway, we have them linked down in the description, as well as they got the talk tag from Sitting in a Tree, who is also, their video is also linked in the description as well. So y'all be sure to go check out their videos and see how different their answers are than ours.
Or the same.
Oh, yeah, with the Debt Destroyers, our first question, the answer is going to be pretty much identical.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see.
Yeah, don't forget to like and, join our watermelon patch.
Say shut. He's seen some of Kay Renee's videos where she says, wow.
That's analytics. That's showing analytics.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what that's doing.
Oh, no, there we go. There we go.
Okay, Rochelle says don't forget to like and, join our banana patch or whatever it is that Kay Renee says. Strawberry patch, banana bunch. I don't know. Anyway. That's right. All right, let's see. Okay. The first question, which is laughable for us because we've been married for 28 years, is thinking back to my online dating profile, what was your first impression of my financial habits?
Okay, number one, the internet was in its infancy at that point. I don't think it was really, most of it was just
we basically would have been an online
stuff.
dating profile.
We didn't have
do you mean like where they go in the newspaper and they have those dating?
Yeah, some people remember the time when they used to have the old the modems that you plug into your phone line.
That's basically what that was.
So we didn't have one of those until
yes.
We didn't have one of those probably till 2 or 3 years after we were married. So there was no online dating profile. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. Nothing like that. So Team Cheetos, Team Cheetos.
That's a character in itself in our videos. But.
Yeah, so there was nothing online at that point. So she had a job, I had a job, and at the time, and
yeah, if he was poor, I was even poorer because I did, just family situation. I was trying to pay my way through college, and was working as a waitress, so
Yep.
no money. No money.
Yeah, that's the next question.
That's the. Well, no, that's not the next
the last
question.
part of that first question.
Well, that goes with it.
Yeah.
What was your first impression? She's saying,
Yeah.
regardless. You know, he knew how financially poor I was, and that it was from having parents who were financially poor, that they couldn't help me.
She was paying for her own car. She was paying half the rent that she lived with her sister, I think.
Well, I wasn't paying any rent. I was taking care of her daughter as kind of like a trade for that.
I had my own car. I was paying for it. Pretty much self-sufficient, except that I was still living at home at the time. But other than that,
let me tell you what he did one time. This might tell you how much he knew about what I was going through. They were having this big weekend thing at the church the whole weekend, and that's when I worked as a waitress, was on the weekend. So he wanted me to go, and I said, I can't afford to take off the whole weekend. So he was like, just do this for me, just take off. And so I took off, and he, as a gift, gave me enough money that, like, the same amount of money I would have had I worked, so that I could go. So that's how much he knew that I was going through. And for me, I knew that he had a full-time job and that he had a car and stuff like that. But honestly, because my parents were so poor, I didn't even really know what like credit debt was and stuff like that. So I don't even think I even thought to ask those questions back then.
yeah.
So, because I didn't know people that owed money.
We didn't really teach those questions back in those days.
Yeah.
For us anyway, which was our experience. So
yeah. Okay. Let's see. The second question is: should couples go Dutch, or should one person pay for dates? I'm gonna let him answer, and then I'm gonna tell you a story for my answer.
Now, I know what story she's going to tell. Maybe. I guess I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I guess because I'm old. And really, it's up to the individual. But anytime we went on dates, I paid for the dates. So but that's pretty much totally up to whatever the couple decides. Whatever you guys decide, But I'm a little old-fashioned. I like for the guy to pay for dates. So. Yeah.
Okay, I'm the opinion that if you ask the person out on a date, you should pay, and you should at least offer. And one of the reasons why I'm saying that is because my very first date ever, I went out with a guy. He literally drove around for 3 hours just talking about all his ex-girlfriends. And during that 3-hour period, which he's already losing me because he's talking about, all his ex-girlfriends, he goes through a drive-thru, orders food, and doesn't even say, would you like me to order something for you? Or, if you want something, you're welcome to order it, or something like that. He just ordered it, kept driving, eating, and never, so you shouldn't be surprised by the fact that after he drove me home, he asked if I would like to go to prom with him, and I was like, yeah, no. Yeah. So, at least, if you asked, offer to buy the person something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It changed over the years. That's right. Yep. 3 hours of him talking about his girlfriends and how, they broke up with him and what a loss it was for them and.
And back in the day, riding around for 3 hours was one of the things we did.
Yeah, that's true. You'd get in your car and ride the boulevard up and down. Absolutely not. Okay.
But no, it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was we didn't know each other, remember, till college. That was when I was in high school, so, yeah. It wasn't a pleasant first date. experience.
Okay.
Okay, so third question: are you a spender or a saver? And I've talked about that mainly because of how poor we were as a child. I kind of had that little fear in the back of my head that I'd never have enough money. So I'm definitely the saver. That's right. I didn't go out with him, but one time, yeah, they broke up with him because he didn't offer. That's right. They were totally missing out.
Yeah.
Anyway, your answer.
Early on, I was more of a spender, and I guess I still am to a point. But I'm now more of a saver, I guess, too. But if she's kind of the saver in the family, and I'm more of the spender, that's why I can't carry cash.
Because he's gonna buy Cheetos.
I'm going to buy Cheetos, or I'm going to buy ice cream or something like that. So.
Hey, Derek, do your impression, Derek.
Oh.
Debt Destroyer.
The Debt Destroyers.
Okay.
Okay, and so, I guess I get that from my mom and dad. My dad was a saver. We talk about side hustles. My dad always did side hustles. We didn't call them those back in the day, but even after he retired, he taught himself how to work on lawnmowers and small engines, and did that kind of as a thing after, and woodworking and stuff. And so any little cash he would make, he would sock it away. So much so that he called me one day and said, "Look, I've got about $10,000 saved up from all of this stuff. I want to try to use that for my funeral." And so and so we did that because that's what he had asked for us to do. So anyway, but my mom was always more of a spender, so they kind of. Yeah.
We've always said it was challenging to buy her Christmas presents and stuff.
Because she already bought things that she already wanted.
She wanted, she already bought it.
Yeah.
Rubbing off on all the good people in a good way. Yeah. Derek is rubbing off on everybody in a good way. That's right, Rochelle.
That's right. So yeah, early on I was more of a spender, and I guess I still could be, but now I'm more like, hey, let's put this away in a sinking fund, and then spend it later.
Plan it later.
Yeah, plan for it later. Yep.
Yep. He doesn't go to the gas station and buy Cheetos as often as.
Ooh, the next question's a good one.
Okay. Do you prefer generic or name brand foods?
And it depends.
Or goods, not foods.
Yeah,
goods.
Goods.
Foods falls into goods, but it's not only food.
It depends on what it is. Now, I'm not eating faking Cheetos, okay? That's got to be the real thing.
After this is over, I'll put down in the description his blind taste test of Cheetos versus Aldi's brand.
Yep. I knew that one right away.
What was it called? Anyway, we call them faking Cheetos, but whatever Aldi brand calls it. But anyway, he did a taste test of it blind, and he knew.
Yep.
You know.
You can't put Cheetos past me. I know those. Those are.
Yeah.
So
they do taste.
It really depends. We use a lot of for our foods. We use a lot of Walmart brands, off brands, Aldi brands, stuff like that. If it will save us a couple of dollars here and there.
This is my opinion. Give it a try once. If you don't like it, then put it on your list of that's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's some things you can tell a difference, and then there's some things that have been marked with a different box, but it was made by the same manufacturer. So you're literally paying for the name. So on the name brand. So we give it a try, and then Hostess versus Sentiments. Yes. Yeah. See, Intimates has gotten blocked off.
Do they?
Yeah, no, they don't know. Don't say.
The championship coming up this week?
Yeah, but it's Hostess versus Tasty Cake.
Tasty Cake, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coming up. Yep. And we'll see if he knows his food as well as he thinks he does. So, okay. 5th question. When should you discuss finances with someone you're dating? Again, we didn't talk about it very much. I kind of knew. I don't know that I understood that he had a car note. That's how much I didn't know. Yeah.
Well, I would say early on, especially if you're getting a little serious, I would definitely start talking about those things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be on your first date and be like, okay, before this goes any further.
How much debt you have? Well, maybe you do. Maybe you don't want to continue the relationship after that.
That might be the last time you go out with them. At least you know it's like that, not like that commercial where the person's sitting there talking about their bodily functions on the first date.
Yeah,
that's probably a really bad idea.
I'm not gonna hold off on those. Yeah, early on, maybe not the first date, but early on, especially if you start getting serious, and then you might want to start discussing those things, and especially if you have a lot of debt, you might want to bring it up. Say, hey, look, I know we're going into this, but this is what I'm dealing with right now. Working my way out of it, but this is what I'm dealing with. So.
Yeah. And if you know, like, your estimated debt payoff date, be real with them and say, if I keep on track with where I am right now, this is how long it's going to take me to be out of debt. So they know that you're working on it and you've got a plan.
More communication is always better than less.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Let's see.
The next one.
The next one is that's the one we just said. 6, how did we differ financially from exes in the past? I'll be honest, I didn't date very much before Joel, just one guy, and again, he had a truck, but we were teenagers, like my first year of college, so I really wasn't even thinking along that line. So.
Yeah, I didn't date a lot either. I had a couple girlfriends along the way, but it was all high school stuff and college stuff, and just
nothing serious, is it?
No. So financially, that didn't really come into the picture at that point. So.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. 7, what were you taught about money growing up, and did that go into choosing a mate? My parents didn't have any money. That's all I know. They didn't have. He was a dairy hand for a dairy farm, which means he didn't even own the farm. He was just working for them. And so, I mean, I knew that they bought groceries every week, and that the only time they had any debt they would go and get a very used car if the one that we had was unfixable, and they would pay it off. And then they were really big about, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this store, but Western Auto. They would go to Western Auto and put things on layaway. Like if they needed new tires for the car, they'd put it on layaway. That's really all I knew about debt. Credit cards weren't really a thing all that much back then. I worked in a pizza restaurant as a waitress, and I remember the credit card situation was so new on the market at that time that they had the old ones where they had the carbon copies and you laid the card down on it and you did the little scanner thing across it. We had so few people using credit cards that we would how do we use that machine again? Because that's how infrequently people used credit cards back then. So I didn't really know that much about debt myself. So
yeah, my parents didn't really talk to me about finances and stuff like that. A lot of what I learned from them. I know my dad would always on Sundays always sit down and write out his tithe check before he went to church. He started his own business after working for a guy for about 10 years. He got tired of working for somebody else, and so he opened his own television repair business, and took most of that guy's business and shut him down. I mean, it's true.
It's true.
I learned a lot, I guess, entrepreneurially from him, because he also started his own, later in life, he started his own small engine service business too. So, yeah, you're old as we are, aren't you? You've heard of Western Auto.
I don't know if they're quite. They haven't been married quite as long as we have, but they're close. They're close. Yeah, I think it was 26 years. Is that right? That Destroyers, you've been married for 26 years? I think they celebrated an anniversary a month ago or so.
And so we didn't really talk about it a lot, but I did learn some stuff from them. I guess one thing I learned from my mom was how to spend money. I did learn from my dad how to save it. So that came on to help me on later in life. So
yeah, that's one of the how much his own principles about money has changed. Oh, 23, I'm sorry. I'm making them older than they are.
There you go.
But his own principles have changed. He didn't think that big a deal about late fees back then. And I kept going, why not pay the bill on time so that you don't have a late fee? Like, so yeah, a lot has changed in 28 years.
23 years on the 4th of July.
Cool.
Next question.
Let's see. That's it.
Number 8. Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about financial conversations with me early in our relationship, sharing salaries and stuff?
We didn't really do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he may have seen checks that I had. He may have known that as a waitress I was making $2.90 an hour plus tips. And the tips, like the way that my boss had it set up was if what you made in tips equaled with the $2.90 equal minimum wage, he didn't have to pay you anything more besides the $2.90. But if you didn't make enough tips to make it to minimum wage, then he kicked in whatever you didn't have, whatever you would need to make it to minimum wage.
Yep.
He made sure you always got minimum wage, is what I'm saying.
And I worked an hourly wage as a stripper, so it was pretty good money. And that's a true statement, by the way.
That is a true statement. He just used the word stripper, and he's not lying. I'm waiting for the.
Yeah, it's about a 5 or 10 second delay there. We're waiting for the comments.
And if you follow us on Instagram, we do a We Know Us Wednesday trivia game, which is just one question every Wednesday that we ask. If you follow us on there, you get these random bits of information that make you go,
I don't think we've done that one yet, have we?
Yes, we did.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yes, we did, but it was probably a year ago.
Oh, okay. We need to pull that one back out then.
Yeah. We're currently on our favorite board games in that series, but yeah, we dealt with why he was a stripper a while back.
And in essence, I worked in a newspaper, and I worked in the back rooms where we did all the photographing, and in essence, they would take the page that goes on the newspaper, would take a picture of it, and it would come out as film, and then we'd kind of fill in. That's what I did. That's what the stripper did. It took the picture of the film, developed it, filled in all the holes, put it on the plate and burned it, and took it out to the press. So that's in essence what I did. It was called a stripper at the time. So
it's ironic. We both had worked for newspapers, but competitive newspapers, kind of. And was before we met each other, and I did not have the title stripper. My title was paste-up artist, and that does not exist anymore because computers do that job now.
Yeah, they go straight from the computer to the metal plate now, I think.
Yeah. So they don't. Yeah, so we couldn't even go back to those jobs if we wanted to. They don't exist. But
yep. Yep. All right. So number 9. Who is the most responsible with money between us? I guess that's going to have to be her. Because I do pass 75-inch TVs in Walmart, and it just calls me like the siren.
Almost every single week when we go buy groceries, he walks by the TVs and goes, "Look at that price," and I go, "Keep walking." We have 3 TVs. We're good. Yep. So.
What's one thing you wish I didn't do financially or think I could do better?
I don't know. If that question had been years ago, I would say, I would have said, pay the late fees. I mean, don't let the accounts go into late fees. But now he's, you know, he put most of them on auto pay so that he doesn't have to even think about whether or not he has to pay them on time. Like it's done for him.
Yep.
And then he notates it, you know, when he gets the email or whatever that it was paid. But I don't know. I let it. He even handles most of the. Ironically, like a few years ago, he was a director of administration. Is there something going on?
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we go.
But
Heard. Thank you.
No, don't help him.
My birthday's coming up.
Oh yeah, by the way, you guys, we got married on his birthday, so you know that's a good tip. If anybody's ever watching that's not married and you see this and you want a tip, get married on your husband's birthday, because if he forgets his birthday, it's okay if he forgets his anniversary, but chances are he's not going to forget it. 28 years, he still hasn't forgot his birthday or our anniversary. Anyway, what we were talking about? So he does. We used to be. He has a master's degree in business administration through Christian education, but and I was a financial secretary for a nonprofit. So you know, technically, but I let him handle all the finances now. So I have the ability to see our YNAB app on the phone.
When we talk about our budget.
But I let him pay all the bills and stuff. So I really don't know if there's anything that I think he could do better now. So because he's all about his sinking funds and stuff.
That's right. I even have me a haircut sinking fund.
Believe it or not, that has to be trimmed regularly.
Man.
Yeah, and because he has a few moles, we're not comfortable with him. I'm not comfortable with me shaving his head. So, okay.
All right, number 11. Yeah, number 11. What does retirement look like to you?
You want me to say?
Sure, go ahead.
For me, it would be mostly I'm able to travel around as much as I want to.
Thank you. I agree. 75-inch TV would be a great anniversary gift. Actually, I bought tickets to Disney, so...
Y'all don't add us. I know. But we saw someone on Instagram that is part of the debt-free community that went to Disney World last week, and she said she felt safer in Disney World than she does when she goes to the grocery store. So we're gonna go test it out
next Sunday.
Yep. We'll probably film some and let y'all see what it looks like there.
Yep.
It's so low capacity right now. A lot of people say, and they're also our son works in a theme park, so not Disney World, but a different theme park that we can't go to right now, but because of that, we kind of want to support that industry. So that's our birthday anniversaries, because my birthday is the next week after our anniversary. So we kind of lump it into one big gift. So, but anyway,
what's retirement like to you?
Oh, I get to travel around as much as I want to. Yeah, squirrel. And also, you know, like maybe at some point we'll have grandkids, and I want to be able to go see them anytime I want to, because they live in a different state. Our married child does. So hopefully that's what retirement will look like. Just being able to go. I want to go see my grandkids or go travel somewhere. What about you?
Yeah, I'd like to do some traveling. I'm kind of probably going to be like my dad. I don't know that I want to totally retire. I figure I'll finish out my career here in Orlando at the restaurant that I'm at now. Our goal is in 5 years to be multi-unit, so I think we can do that. But I want to get the restaurant in such a place to where I don't have to be there, but I'm still getting paid. So I don't have to be there every day until we can take some time off and do some traveling. There's some things I still want to see.
By the way, the restaurant opens up on the
August 20th. Yep.
Yeah, so we're getting really close to having the restaurant actually open. So.
Yeah. Yep. So so that's kind of what retirement looks like to me. I don't want to, sit around. I can't sit around and do nothing. And yeah.
I was going to say, I was waiting for him to say, I don't want to retire. That's basically what I was
That's basically what I said.
Yeah, I knew that's what he would say. I've heard him say it before. I like my job and I don't want to stop. So,
yeah.
So. All right, so.
Yeah, number 12.
The 12, what is your credit score? They're in the.
This is like 781?
781, something like that.
Mine's like 735, so it's, decent.
Yeah, he took on more debt when we were younger. So.
And actually, mine has risen about 100 points over the last couple of years.
So since he was paying off a majority of the stuff and I wasn't, he dealt with more backlash from.
It's kind of a misnomer. What is your credit score? It's mainly a how bad you want to go into debt score.
Yeah. I keep one credit card that we have been using for to cash flow our son's education, and then we would it would automatically draft from my credit card, and then we would turn around and pay it back off. So every month that I was doing that, it was upping my credit score because we were utilizing a little bit of it,
Yep.
So, and then he uses his credit cards for work stuff that he's going to get reimbursed.
Yep.
So we're not. So we still use credit cards, but
responsibly.
Yes, responsibly. Pay it off every month.
Yep.
Which Tunisia was probably going to be like, yes, use credit card to pay it off every month. Let's see. The 13th question is, how much debt do you have? We have been debt-free for...
Since 2017, probably, since we paid off the house. Since we sold the house.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I have to say. We sold our house when we moved to Houston and rented there, so we used the profits from the sale to finish off what we still owed. So, yep. I mean, we probably would still be debt-free, but that escalated the thing. But we don't have a mortgage right now either, so one day
no mortgage, no car note, nothing.
Yeah. But one day we'll
so.
have to, we'll probably do another house, so we'll have a mortgage again someday. But
we'll see.
Well, we will be adding on to how long we stop renting if we wait until we have enough money to pay for our house straight out. But anyway, Rochelle said that y'all are team responsible credit card users. I want to be like y'all in Tanisha. Woo! You'll get there. You're working on it.
That's right.
You became consumer debt free this
That's
past
right.
month. Woo!
That's
You're getting
awesome.
there. So 14th. What's the why motivating your financial goals? You tell them what started our debt free journey.
I lost my job back in 2013. We had very little savings at the time. They gave me a 3-month severance package that I turned into 6, but we had kind of started that about 6 months before, getting on budgets and working with YNAB and stuff like that. We didn't know it was coming, but it kind of set us up for success when it did happen. So living 1 month ahead. Yeah, my watch is telling me to stand. So that kind of got us thinking about it. That was the big moment. And I guess I have myself now, when thinking about financial goals, ask myself, why do I want this? Or is it something that is really going to change my life for the better? And for the most part, most things don't. That's what I've realized over time, is that most things that I want are just that. They're just wants. They're not really going to enhance my life. And so, if it's not going to move you forward, if it's only going to hold you back because you're in debt, then there's really no reason to get it. So, or just save up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's things that you really want. You'll have the discipline to save up and get it, and not go into debt for it.
I say, when we went through that with the job loss, we never wanted to be in that position again where if there was a job loss, we were struggling like that, like we did because we didn't even know how we were going to pay our mortgage back then. That was 7 years ago. And so, because we've been faithful to follow that and to stay on our debt-free journey, when all this with the Rona happened, his hours were...
I had to cut in hours. Our restaurant closed because it was in a mall, so I went to work with another operator in our area, and hours got cut because they didn't need me as much, and my pay wasn't as much. So,
which we're still thankful he was working at all.
Yeah,
but
because it still did supplement. But even if that hadn't happened, we had enough money saved up that we could have gone 2 or 3 months without needing to have a check. So
yeah. So that's our big financial goal is if we ever deal with a job loss again, we never want to be in that situation where we're like, how are we going to pay all this?
Yep.
so okay. 15. This is the last one. Ideally, how would you like to handle the finances when you're married? We are married.
Yeah, we already are. So separate joint accounts, 50-50, percentage based on contribution. For us, we've always had a joint account. We did have one separate account one time before.
We called it the vacation
account. We called it a vacation account, but really,
it was where my paycheck was going by his tuition because he was still in college, and our oldest son's college tuition was being taken out of that.
Yep.
So he had access to the account the whole time.
Yeah. So we actually had 2 joint accounts, I guess you might say, because we both had access to both accounts. So.
Yeah. So it really didn't matter. I don't really think it's that big a deal. If it works for you, it works for you. What I would say is, whether you keep it together or separate, if one of you lost a job, would the other one of you have enough money to pay the other one's bills? You know what I'm saying? In other words, if you do 50 and they do 50, but if you lost your job, do they have enough to handle that 50 as well, the 100%?
Yeah.
If not, then you might need to look into what might, maybe would work better for you, because you never want to be in that position where one job loss throws the whole of the family into a problem. And also, I would say if you are working separately, still have accountability meetings with each other where you're talking about what you're spending your money on. Because if you work as a team, you're going in the same direction. You are working as a unit, and if you're going separately, one could have an idea that doesn't match the other one's idea, and it could take you longer to get there. I mean, some people say, how do I get my spouse to agree to be on a debt-free journey? Well, that's a hard part, but you have to, show them an example of how to do it by the way that you're doing. But imagine thinking about it, when they see all the achievements that you make, if they join you and you're working together as two, at least in a way that you sit down and you say, let's be accountable to each other, you're growing together and you're working toward the same goal. So that's just a thought. But like I said, we've always been, same. So when we got married, other than paying for a car that we had, that I had. I didn't even have a credit score because the car was in my dad's name. So, so it definitely, for a while, it was just Joel's credit history and debt that we were working with, because I didn't even have a debt in my name. So sometimes, I mean, we just always went joint because of that.
Okay.
So that is all the questions. Anyone else have anything they would like to ask? I hope that y'all enjoyed getting to know us a little bit better.
We probably bored them long enough.
I know.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I feel like
I'm surprised I didn't get any comments on my stripper question.
I know. How did they miss that? did it go in and out? I was like expecting stripper, like with question marks. Yep. So anyway, I guess if that is all the questions that we have for right now.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you, Sitting in a Tree. Y'all be sure to go check out both of those videos after this is over. Thank you, Debt Destroyers. All right. Used to be, I know, right? Yeah, you didn't really ask questions because you didn't think about it.
That's right.
We even did the marriage counseling. I don't remember him saying, "Have you talked about money?"
Nope.
Like, I don't even think that was a thing back then to even ask that.
Yep.
Oh.
Thanks,
thank you, Jan. She was Sitting in a Tree was putting on makeup during the stripper conversation.
Bye, guys.
No problem, Jan. All right, I will talk to y'all later.
Have a good day. That's right. Full credit reports.